By the end of the video, you'll be able to build and sell this type of AI agent automation. Hello, can you call David Smith? And I need you to tell David that we can't make the meeting today and that we should reschedule. Sweet, so it's gonna come through, take it, transcribe it. It's gonna look up David Smith's details. It's gonna come through and create a call in the workflow. And here we go. Hello.
Hello, this is Samantha, Altus's receptionist. Can I speak to David?
Hey, it's David speaking.
Hi, David. This is Samantha from Altus. Altus wanted me to let you know that we can't make the meeting today and that we should reschedule. But let me know if there's a time that works best for you.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye. My name is Altus. I have my own AI agency and my own mentorship program where we do stuff exactly like this. I'm going to walk you through the entire step: connecting Telegram, building the AI automation, building the AI voice assistant, putting it all together, and having an assistant like this and a product like this you can sell. So let's stop talking and let's get straight into it, because there's going to be a lot of explanation. So sit back, enjoy, watch all the way to the end, because there's important bits everywhere. Let's have some fun. All right, so we are gonna go nice and slow through this, and by the end you should be able to understand what they are, what the modules are, how it works, and kind of have access to all the programs. There are some things that you are gonna need to install and add yourself, but we'll go through it slowly. So let me quickly just talk about the workflow, then we'll talk about the programs, and then we go through setting it all up. So obviously the first workflow is this is going to get triggered by Telegram and either Telegram text or voice. And this is all it does, is it decides between the text and the voice. And that's really good because Telegram voice actually just records on here. It sends to N8N directly, so that you don't have to go look up a drive and then get stuff from a drive. It comes to N8N directly, and then you can just transcribe it straight into N8N and then pump that into your AI agent. And again, this is just a if it's voice, if it's text, go this way. So text comes straight in, the voice gets translated first, and then your AI agent will either go look into your contacts. So we'll set up a contact database on Excel sheets, and it's, if you don't have a big database, sheets are right, because you can just feed it all in there. And especially with the newer LLMs out there with up to 1,000 tokens, it can just read a spreadsheet if it's going to be names and addresses. So it's really no need to rag it or anything like that. It makes it easier and simpler this way. But then it's going to decide if we need to make a call. So we're going to get the contact details first, and when it's ready to make a call, it's going to go through our calling workflow, which pretty much looks like this. It receives the data, it puts it into a field that we can actually use it. Then it converts numbers, because some contacts might have different numbers for different fields. And that's only because if in Retell AI, which we'll get to, I have different phone numbers, we want to route clients out to that phone number for their country. So if I have an Australian client that I want to call, it will route them out for Australia, New Zealand, and the USA. And that's all this does, is it figures out where to go. And I obviously didn't connect the other ones yet for this video, but you'll get where we're going with this very, very soon. So that is how all of this kind of works. So we'll go through this real slow. The things you will need is you just need to go grab yourself an Excel sheet, kind of like this, and just add a name, email, phone number, and address, and just add some details in there. Obviously, one is going to have to be your number that you can test out in. Next thing you're going to need also is Telegram. So have a spreadsheet, name it something unique so we can get it. We're going to go to Telegram, and that's going to be our first step, is we'll set up a bot, but just make sure you have a Telegram account. It's good to have it on your desktop already so we can test there. text version first because the voice one works easy and don't have to worry too much about it. But it's just going to be good in here so we can actually get it set up. And then you need a Retell account. So this is not going to be a massive tutorial in Retell AI. However, you need a Retell account and you need it to have a phone number attached to it. So go into Retell, register your account, and buy a telephone number. All right. If you can't buy the number in there, get one from Twilio and import it in there. Lots of videos for it, but we'll need a Retell AI account with a phone number. Now you can do this all in Vappy if you want to. That's totally fine. It's just the end product, the HTTP post at the end, that's going to be different, and you have to put the Vappy parameters in rather than the Retell parameters. But I like Retell at the moment because we can build out a lot more. So there's going to be a small step and a massive flow. Okay, your personal assistant will be able to make bookings, leave messages for you, and do so much more. I'm only showing you the small step of connecting it to the voice AI assistant, so we can tell your voice AI assistant to call someone and tell them something. That's what we're doing. We're creating a voice AI assistant that's going to go out and call someone from your contact list and tell them something. Leave a message, inform them, ask them, and leave a message and get back to you as well. So all that functionality is there. So first things first, we'll go get ready and we will set ourselves up with Telegram. So go grab your Telegram account and then come back and we'll start setting things up with Telegram. So you're going to come to your Telegram account and you're just going to look up Botfather, and it should be this little image in here. And once you click into it, you'll see a bunch of random messages like this. So all we're going to do is create a chat window called a bot in Telegram to use with your N8N. So all you have to do is hit the / button and say new bot. And then it's going to ask us for a name. All right, your new bot. How are you going to call this bot? Choose the name for this bot, and we are going to call it, just say YouTube test bot or YouTube test. You don't have to add bot to this, but when we're going to create the username, you have to create a username including bot. So it's going to have to be something like Altus YouTube test bot. All right. So that there creates a bot for you. So what you need to do is you're going to come to your notepad and start a new notepad. And first things first is I'm going to click this and I'm going to save it into here. That means it's saved. So now let's head over to N8N. So I'll get this blueprint for you when you join our awesome community. Obviously, the community is down here. When you join up, you'll be able to download awesome workflows like this, including lots of other things, but you'll get these 2 blueprints to download. Else you're just going to have to build them from scratch. But when you download them and import them, all these will have little red marks in them because you have not connected your Telegram account. So to connect them, we're just going to come in here and we are going to already have mine connected, but you're going to come in here, drop down, create new credentials, and you're going to add your token into there. Now that will create a name, so you'll have a name. So add your token in here and you'll have a name in. And then it will show a green mark like this once it's connected. And then it's just a matter of coming in here and you're going to have to change this one. Make sure that's on the right bot. Make sure this one's on the right bot. And make sure this one's on the right bot. So all you have to do is change them over and it should try and change the little red exclamation mark into a clear it out so it doesn't have an error. So the next thing you need to do is we are going to need to know that once someone types something into your new bot, that they have to send that information, whatever you type, to N8N. So it's going to act like as a webhook function. So to get that enabled, we're going to click in here in your new bot. And then click through here, you're going to start up your bot, and you'll have it in like here, and it shows started. You're going to come back to N8N, double click your workflow, and then in here in the top, you'll have 2 URLs. So you're going to have to do this twice. Once when we're going to go through the testing, and then the second time around when you're going to actually do production, you're going to have to do all this with the production URL. But we're just going to create the test URL now. So you're going to copy that one. You're going to come back to Notepad, and we are going to come in here and have this in like this. Now, the next code again I will give you when you come up and join our awesome community. It's got lots of awesome stuff, especially voice AI, lots of N8N blueprints, really good, really amazing. Join up here. But you will need this line, so you can either pause it and write it, but this is going to send webhooks, anything that comes into our bot, to this webhook. This webhook is obviously going to be our N8N. So you can get data, voice or anything in through here. And to do that, you'll need this little line here. So I'll paste that in here. And then what we'll do is you'll see in here. Well, can I zoom in? I don't think I can zoom in here. No, I can zoom in a bit more. So what we will do in here is where it says your token, you're going to add your token. Make sure we add the curly brackets in there, or the bigger as, small as. In here, then we're going to have webhook and URL equals, and we're going to do the same with your URL in here. Come in here and we replace that like that. And now you have a big long webhook like this. I'm going to come through here, copy this all the way to the side. So I do Control C. Now in Windows, you're going to run command. I'm not sure of the Mac version, but it's going to bring up a terminal. So we just need to do the terminal command. It's just a command to connect to your Telegram bot and tell it whatever comes in here, whatever we come in here and do here, that we should send all this as a webhook into here. So let's just go back in here, make sure I copy this. Now pasting in here is different for everything else. I just hit the right click button in here and I hit enter in here, and we'll see that it's posting all that data information to that specific account. So good, we're set up and we're ready to go. Now I have this already set up another account, and because I actually did this, I might have actually just wiped it, but let's see if this still works. So I'm just going to hit the test button in here, and I'm going to come to my bot that I have set up, and I'm just going to say hello. I'm going to hit the send button in here. Now, Allbird, we actually get information back, and we get a hello in here. So I didn't quite mess it up, but that's how you need to test it. We need to test and see that we can actually get data to come in through here. So it's a text one and connect it through here. So sweet. That means our Telegram is set up and we're ready to go. So let me now go through each one of these little modules so we have a little bit of better understanding. It's kind of just a glance over because you don't actually need to change anything else in here because it will be preset. But if you're going to build this out yourself, you're just going to think about it, and we'll eventually work our way up to this. So let's get going now into each module. So obviously the first module we've looked at. The next one is just an if tester. So it just tests and see if in fact this variable has come through. So when we send our data, it's going to come in through like this, and it's coming through and it actually has the text type down here which contains our data. So this just says if we actually have text come in, we'll have that in here. But if you would send the video audio file, let's see if we can do this in here. So I'll just come to Telegram, and let's just see, we're going to go through test workflow here, and we're going to come here, and this is a test 123 test. And when it receives the data, see how it goes this way? So all this does is it now figures out that actually there's a voice ID down here. So it means this must be a voice file. So therefore, let's go on. We'll download the voice file from that voice ID that we got. So it downloads it from Telegram. Then it sends it to this transcribe module, which is OpenAI's audio transcriber, which just means we'll take a data file. The input's going to be data, and we're going to transcribe it using your API key. So all of these, you need an OpenAI account. So not a ChatGPT account, but a platform.openai account. And you need an OpenAI connection to it. Lots of videos out about it, but register your account. Once you register your account, you will have access to all the OpenAI products. And we're just going to use the transcribe tool, which just literally transcribes audio data to text data, which it did right down here. And then we're just feeding this all through here. And in here, it's just going to be called the text tool. And all this means is we're feeding whatever we get into this module here, which is our AI agent. So what's our AI agent going to do? It needs to be able to look up contacts in a database. So if I give a name, it needs to be able to look them up in our spreadsheet. Once it's done with that, it needs to be able to have that name, details, phone number. And then if we're going to ask to make phone calls, then we should be able to send the message to that number that we now got from there. So the first test you should do is just to see if it actually connects to the database. Now, this is going to be the entire prompt. Don't get too confused about it. If you want the prompt, obviously it's going to be loaded in the best training module ever, where you can go and download it. Lots of other automations, lots of other information in here that you can have and download, but I'll put the prompt in here for you when you join up. But the prompt is going to be big and kind of self-explanatory in a way, where we just walk it through actually checking a database first using the database check or the contact check tool. Then once it has a contact, then we can send it to a call. So the rules of the AI prompt is always going to be that before I can send a call, I need to know who to send the call to. And to send the call to someone and check that up, I need to check my database for it. And number two is always, I'm going to need a first name and last name, just to make sure we have the right person. It's just a bit of a default that I've built up in here, but all it says, if I say this is only a calling bot, okay, so you are going to check up contacts and call someone. To call someone, you need to check up the contact first, and we're going to use the contact details tool. So what's the contact details tool? That's simply just an Excel spreadsheet reader, okay? So all it is going to get all the rows in our tool. So I've just come in here. All you do is select your Google account. You need to have a Google connection into it. Simple, easy. You add in your account. Again, for here, you simply add it by signing into Google. Or you can do the zero auth authentication with a contact ID and client secret, which keeps it in there all the time for you, which works really well as well. So either or, you need a Google and Google Sheet connection to it. Plenty of videos out there, but make sure you get this in green. And then we're going to say, this tool is going to get called manually. I don't want the AI to figure out what the call is going to be. And I'm going to say, this is the contact tool. This tool contains all the contact information, name, phone number, email, physical address, and it doesn't matter. So I'm telling my AI assistant, if you want context, what does context mean? Phone numbers, emails, physical addresses, and names. This is the tool you need to use for it. So AI will be able to come in, and all it's going to do is just read the rows. So you're going to get the rows from your spreadsheet that you need to choose. So come in here, spreadsheet name, last name, phone number. It's going to be sheet 1, and that's it. Just read it. And literally the only thing the AI module will do is just take all this data and suck it up into itself, okay? Yes, this doesn't work if you have thousands and thousands of rows of data. It might get a little bit hard. If you keep it simple and straightforward, just getting phone names and numbers, that will work. I did a spreadsheet with 3,000 contacts in it, and it worked really well. However, as soon as I added something like bank statements to it and then asking it to do some multiplications and catching up with things, it fell off. Okay, so as long as you keep it simple like this, it will be able to get the details. And again, all I'm telling it in my prompt is, if you want to look up contact details, you can use the contact tool. Make sure that you get the first name and last name. If it doesn't, come back and ask. So how does that all look just for that node here? So let me open this in here, open this in here. We'll do the left and we'll do the right for this one. And we'll try to zoom out a little bit. I know it's a long looking workflow and it can be a bit confusing sometimes. But all I'm going to do here, so I have a couple of contacts in my list. Let's just come back to this one. So I have these in here, okay? So let's come back to those one and that one. And all I'm going to say is, what is the phone number for David? All right. What did I say? We need a first name, last name. I bolt that into the prompt and come through. Gonna look up the AI, and it doesn't even check in here. Okay, so it didn't even go in here. It just went through here, and we're like, nah. Please give us David's name first. So I'll zoom in out. Like, oh, okay, sorry for that. It will remember my chat in here, and I'm gonna say just Smith. Why? Because now we built in the memory tool as well. Okay, so we've given our AI memory on the side, so now it should remember this. See how it goes into the contact. It reads all that data in here, and here we go. This is the name for them, and this is the email address, and that's the address. Awesome, right? So exactly what we needed it to do, where it simply came through the path. And we'll go back in here, and we can just see in here in the log file, it came in, it did its whole core thing, what it's about, and then it went and scanned the contact tools, and it actually got all the rows in the full schema, row 1, row 2, row 3, so it knows who is what, and then it's chucked that all back into ChatGPT. Here's the details, and it sends it back, and it also saves it in the memory. Easy, right? So that's how you set up a contact checking tool, or a tool to check a bit of a smaller database. So like I say, very important, you can't feed too much information in here, okay? So that's our first part. So our first part is done, where we know through the prompt that says, if you want to check the name, make sure we get the full details. All right. First name, make sure we get a last name, and then go get the contact details. Now I'm going to tell it that you are an actual calling assistant. So if I want to say, I want to call someone, that you need to use, number 1, determine their details using the contact details form. If there's only a name, revert back, we need a last name. Then we can run the contact details tool, get the contact details, and then from there we can get the phone number, and we can take this message and send the message to our next tool. And all it says in here is that we're going to keep that in a very specific parameter, where we are going to assign new variables. So the new variables is the little trick in here, where we're going to say that we want to assign name, to the query first name. So who are we going to send this to? David. Why do we do this? First name only. So we're asking for first name and the last name because that's how we need to query it in the database. However, if I get a phone call, I'm not going to get a phone call from a receptionist saying, hello, is David Smith there? You just ask first names on the call, okay? So that's why we're asking for the first name only. Then we're going to have the phone number, okay? Who's the phone number we need to call to, and the message to leave. And what are those? We just define them down here. The query name, the message to leave, and the phone numbers. We just define who and what they are. And once we have a phone number or a first name, a phone number that will get out from the log, and a message to leave, then I want you to go ahead and run the calling tool. So it will know, AI agent will know to come through and run the calling tool. And we'll get through the calling tool soon. We'll go through this part. But this is just a logical explanation. How I'm explaining this to go through and either get the details first. Make sure we get a name and last name. It all comes from prompting. Then assigning variables. This is very important. We need to assign the variables so we can send this to Retell. 1, 2, 3. Really important. Okay, so once it's got all those things, we can run the call tool. And I'll tell it in here, run the call tool, which I say the calling tool. That's the name I give it. And just to make things better, I probably have this still on GPT 4.0. Make sure you go do 4.1. Where is 4.1 mini? This should be good enough. We'll give it a test and see. Okay, let's hit the save button here. So let's now, in the next part, go and look at the calling tool. So give you a big sorry if you've come this far. Awesome. If you've just imported this, then you probably don't have to worry about it, all of these. It will just work for you because you get the prompt, but you need a good understanding of what we're doing. We're checking first things, getting information, then manipulating it and sending it somewhere else. This is why this is so important. So, and again, you can do this yourself, or guess what? Yes, you can get it in the school community. It's awesome. It's got great stuff in here. But pause it. Take a big sigh. I don't know. Go make yourself a coffee or a drink. And now let's go into the calling tool function, which is going to be a little bit more complicated because we're going to connect this up to Retell. But this is the cool stuff coming up now. All right. So if you click on the calling tool, it's kind of a little bit self-explanatory. But what we need in here is we are going to say that this is going to be the calling tool. So I give it a name and I give it a name up there. So it actually matches what we're doing. Okay. So all it says in here is that use this tool when you want to call someone or leave a message. Your input must be in a JSON format like this. Name, phone number, and message. Now remember we defined this by the AI in like this. It's in here. So a couple of things can happen in here. So that's kind of two options where we're defining this already. So your AI assistant have those as variables. So now this knows by saying this that we are going to send the variables over from that. Okay. So all it says, if you want to use this tools, send variables over in a JSON format like this. And we are going to send it to the calling tool in here. Now, this is the other blueprint that you need to download for it. Yes, you can fill these out. Or no, you don't have to if you don't want to. It works the same without it. Either way. Either we can manually map it in, or you can do it this way. So this is a bit the harder way to do because I use this for something else. But you can just have these defined by the AI but we're going to need to make sure we call these the same. So I have name, phone number, and message. Same things that I have in here, and you'll see where I defined it in the next tool in here. And obviously there's going to be the next one that I'll be able to give you up. I'm going to have this in here, and should I have this one? No, we'll just keep it big. So this is the calling tool, and when we come back to the other side, this is the one that we say in here. Oops. Calling tool. So we're saying, if you want to call someone, use this tool. When we want to use this tool, send some data. Where are we going to send this data? To this workflow here. What is this workflow? This is what it looks like. So again, you can download the blueprint if you want to. It's on the right side. But what it does is it says that, hey, be ready to receive data from another webhook, from another application. I am just going to accept all data there is, and it's going to be in this format in here, for example. Okay, so I just put this in here. We can edit this. In fact, I should edit this in this number in here. Let's say, just put my number in here. So all I have done is I've just pinned data as an example in here. So this is the when executed by another workflow. That means that we are going to get data, and it's probably going to look like this. So this is just to pin data because we don't have anything yet. Okay, so how are we going to build out a workflow without knowing what it looks like? And all it's going to say is we're going to get a name, a phone number, and some sort of message in here. Then once we're done, we are going to take that and we're going to edit it into a JSON field. So it looks in properly like this. So the query comes in with name, email, and that. So if we hit the test step in here, you'll see that now we're going to take this string of name, phone number, and message, and we're going to convert it into a proper use schema that we can use these variables now in the next step. All right, so we're getting one long line. With that long line, we'll be able to now edit these in here. Now, if you wanted to send it out, and when I hit refresh in here, you'll see that this actually disappears. But you can change this around if you want, and change this to JSON format, and then have the fields in here, and then you'll be able to directly map the fields from one side to the other. I just like doing it this way where it receives any sort of data in there. Okay, that's the only difference I have in here. But all this does is it converts a string of numbers, or a string of name, phone number, numbers, to an output where we can use these now in the next step. So next step, all this does is JavaScript code that I got from ChatGPT that says if the number starts with 64, I'm going to call it New Zealand. I'm going to add an extra schema code called country. It's going to be New Zealand, or I'm going to assign country Australia, or I'm going to assign country USA. And you'll see here, test step, it just goes through, it grabs the number, it looks at the number, and what it also needs to do, important step here, it needs to add the plus in here. This is for Retell AI. Vappy, you don't have to do that because Vappy will figure that out itself, but it's always better to have that in here. Full raw number with the phone code. So this code does two things. It adds the plus, and then it creates a new variable for country and name. So now we got a couple of things to work with. You'll see that we have a phone number, we have a country where it is, and then we have the message. Okay, so make sure we don't use this, and we have a name. So now we're going to give it into some sort of instructions. Okay, and this is all it does, is it brings over success. All right, in this step you can probably delete in here. I just had this as a bit of a test that I wanted to send through to the end. In fact, you can probably delete this one. So yeah, delete this step. In fact, it's an old one I left in here. It is just to assign a success model. So if I come in here, you'll see that this is just a measure of success where I can come in here and now I have a lot of extra variables to work with. I have what success looks like, and I'm actually not doing any testing with this, but I have a phone number with a proper code. Then I have a country so I can route it. Then I have a name and I have a message that I've just predefined in there. But that's all that's going to come through in here. We use the pin data as an example to build out the rest of the workflow. And all this does is then say, if it says New Zealand, do one way, Australia one way, USA the other way. And that's how it just builds out into the HTTP request that goes out into Retell. All right, so just a big summary. This AI assistant will grab a phone number from a name. It will then convert that phone number into a phone number, a message, and a first name. It will take that phone number, message, and first name, and is going to send it off to a tool called Calling Tool. Calling Tool is going to receive a line of name, phone number, and message. And it's going to change it into JSON format, so it's actually a schema that we can use the variables. Then it's going to add a plus in front of the phone number so we can actually make proper calls out. It's got to add a country code so we can route it out through the right retail. And then we're going to make an HTTP request through to Retell. So now let's quickly go see how we've set up Retell AI, and you can just see what I mean, how to configure it, and it's just going to be the basics on it. So let's go have a look at Retell now. All right, you're going to come into Retell AI, you're going to register, you're going to go buy a number, link it in wherever you want to. Then you're going to come through and you're going to open a new notepad. You're going to come in here and you're going to first go to APIs on the side. We're going to go add API, and I'm going to say must delete. Create that API in here. And we are going to, must delete one in here. I'm going to copy this. And I come into a notepad. All right, sorry. The audio cut off. Save your API key in there, and what we're going to look at next is just the actual Retell assistant. So you're just going to create a new assistant, and of course I'll give you this prompt when you're doing the community, but all it is, it's calling on that dynamic variables name and message that we are going to get through our workflow. So just going to go through it, but all it really just says is that you are the voice AI receptionist called Samantha. You work for Altus. Altus has instructed you to call whoever the name was going to pass and give them this message. And your task is to call them on the number that it's going to happen by itself with our HTTP request, which we'll get next to. And you're going to give them a proper greeting, say who you are, ask to speak to the person's first name. It's what I mean earlier on, that all we want is the names to talk to, right? So we just want their details, and then we'll go and pass on the message. And all I'm saying in here is that I want you, AI receptionist, to pass on the message like it's you saying it and not a direct quote from me or whoever you're going to decide on, right? So customer name needs to get a message from you as if you're going to relay it. So just a basic prompt. Of course, you want to start building an edit functions in here. This can't just always be the end of the conversation. This is the end for the demo, but you want Samantha to do either send the message back to Altus, and you can add an extra workflow in it with the extra functions. Got lots of other videos out on this, works really well, but you want to build out the extras. This is not a final product, it's just a demo product for you, okay? So all the rest you can leave the same, but what we're going to do is copy your agent ID in here, and we are going to come back through and we're going to paste that in there. So agent comes through in there. So awesome. So now that we have those two things, we are going to head back to N8N and we are going to pop through and open up this cool module. So you need to also remember the number that you have bought in retail, because we'll use that soon. So you'll need that number. So pop this open, and all it has in here, again, you don't have to change anything, but what it says, and it comes from Retell AI's API calls. So we're going to make a post call with some data to start an outbound call. So we have the post in here. We have, this stays the same. This comes from Retell. And our authentication field is going to be bearer. And in the XXX, we're going to replace your API key that we have in here through in here. And then we're going to send a specific JSON schema. So let's just hold on, go back from here. I'm just going to say test this final step in here. All right, so we're going to come through here. Now we have all that data and information. Let's put that to good use. So scroll down in here. We're going to use this, just a bigger field. And you just need to exactly copy this. If you don't have it, then just going to change it over. But all the only things you need to change in here is your overriding agent ID. So it means we're going to make a phone call. The outbound call is going to be our agent ID that we have in here. So you're going to copy and paste that one over. I already had that in fact. It's exactly the same one. So you're going to have that one in there. It's going to be your one. Then the dynamic variables, the name and relay message that we assign in Retell. Right? Name, relay message is going to be mapped out from our data name. So we're going to come to the side and you just drag and cross this over. So we're just dragging that in here. That means it's mapped, and we're going to say Andrea relay message. It's going to be that message there, and that is going to be it. You leave this the same, leave this, leave this, leave this, and all you need to do in here is the from number is going to be the number that you bought in a retail. This is your retail number that we're going to make the outbound calls for, and because this is routing through New Zealand, I'm going to use my New Zealand number because we have that function there for routing it out. And then the 2 number is going to be the number, not this one, not this one. Make sure it's the one with the actual number in here, okay? We're going to route it out and push this through here. So now you want to test this. So this is it. You can save it in there and you can leave it like it is. So I'm just going to put my own API key in here again. And I'm just going to fix this, and then we're going to go through the test. So just hold on while I fix this up quickly. All right. So just while we edited, I went and changed my things in here. So we just need to remember, when you come in here, you're going to go edit the data, and you need to make sure that when we're going to run the test, that you actually put your own number in there to run the test, okay? Because else it's going to call someone else. And you're going to see it is super fast, it's super instant, and it's going to go straight away. So we're going to test this workflow with our pinned data, and all I'm going to say is this in here. Let's unlock my phone in here, have this here, and I'm just going to hit the test button. Ringing. Hello.
Hello, this is Samantha, Altus's receptionist. Can I speak to Andrea?
It's Andrea speaking.
Thank you, Angela. I was looking to speak with Andrea. Is Andrea available?
Yes.
Great. May I please speak with Andrea?
Speaking.
Hello, Andrea. This is Samantha, Altus's receptionist. Altus wanted to leave you a message, and he asked me to share it with you. The message is, I love you.
Well, thank you very much. Goodbye. Right. That's how I get an AI assistant to call my partner, my fiance, and tell her that I say I love her. Goes down great. So That's how how workflow works. So that's how you need to test it. So now let's come in and do a combination of things. We'll put this one aside, we'll put this one aside, and we will find our main Telegram. All right, I've rejiggled a couple of things, and let's actually test this. Just remember that somewhere in your address book, you're going to have to fill in your details. Okay, so I'll have an address book in here, and I've put in my details in the top as David Smith. So I'm going to come back through here. I am going to hit the record button, test the workflow, and I'm going to say, hello, can you call David Smith? And I need you to tell David that we can't make the meeting today and that we should reschedule. Sweet, so it's gonna come through, take it, transcribe it. It's gonna look up David Smith's details. It's gonna come through and create a call in the workflow. And here we go. Hello.
Hello, this is Samantha, Altus's receptionist. Can I speak to David?
Hi, David speaking.
Hi, David. This is Samantha from Altus. Altus wanted me to let you know that we can't make the meeting today and that we should reschedule. But let me know if there's a time that works best for you.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye. Sweet. And as easy as that, it works. So you can come in here and we can look at the log in here. And let's just move this in here and we'll zoom in a little bit. You can see, obviously, don't go through this. We received the message and we're going to come through here and you can see the steps that it did. It comes through, it reads, it understands that we need to have a phone and number for David Smith, and it will come through in here, read it, and then we'll have some details of David Smith in here, and then we'll know that now that we have the details, you've asked us to make a call because you're a calling agent, and we're going to use the calling tool, and through the calling tool, we have then send the input or the data out through this tool in here. All right, so David, phone number, and the message, hey, we can't make the meeting today. And this is just from the API through to the other side, which we'll look at right now. And this is just what we get back. All right, so when we come back through here, this is our main one. It's going to hit the save in here. When we find the other one, and here you can go to, because it's not going to be a live call, you need to come to executions. And we can see that this one just succeeded in here. And it's going to load the data for us. And in here we can see that we received it. Phone number, David, can we reschedule the meeting? We have the fields that now edited to name, phone number, message. Then the code has fixed the number for us, and we know it's from a country, New Zealand. Then I should still move this one. We have actually come through in here, and we have routed it through New Zealand. And in here, the output. Just move this through, and in here we've had the output where it actually made the phone call. So hope that all kind of made sense. So it's multiple things, and this is just the actual history report, and you can go through all of this, but this will be your main file. So hope that kind of makes sense, and you can just build in from this where we can start editing our main assistant in here to now connect to other workflows, other tools, if we want to build in multiple tools. But you should also work on building your retail assistant. And if you haven't seen my other videos, I have a bunch of videos where we can actually connect this to a high level calendar. So if we're saying that we want to cancel the meeting, our next option will easily be to now book into your next calendar meeting. As easy as that. So it all works in really well. Like I say, all these things, a lot of information here. You should be able to recreate this if you need to, but else it's easy just here at one place. All you got to do to get it is just come on over. You are invited. And come in here, and there's lots. There's high level stuff, how to launch an agency, high level voice RS, VP stuff, Synflow stuff, retail stuff, 11 Lab stuff, absolute bunch of N8N stuff like this. Yeah, I think there's about $200, 200 videos in here, and then of course you get all the free extras with it. That includes high level, unlimited high level account, the SMS tool, the mailboxes, bunch of nesses, the SaaS niche account. Just the websites you get here is worth more than this. Absolutely ridiculous. So hope you liked this, hope you enjoyed it, hope it all makes sense, and yeah, like, follow, and subscribe for more.